was a semi-structured interview with male sexual violence survivors. And due to the sensitivity of the subject matter at hand, the researchers established trust relationships with these people before data could be collected. And the method used purposive sampling. That is, you choose based on specific characteristics, and snowball sampling, where the person you have spoken with refers you to the next person. And then we also leverage the ability to speak Juba Arabic. That's the common language across South Sudan, Juba Arabic, in order to build trust. Now, what I want to present is two things. How hegemony weaponizes masculinity, leading to the sting of pain that male survivors of sexual violence experience. As many of you know, masculinities or femininities, how you're brought up as a man and a woman, is constructed within particular contexts. And across Africa, when I mean across Africa, I've lived in West Africa, I've lived in Central Africa, I've lived in Southern Africa, I've lived in East Africa. This is where I'm drawing from. Across Africa, masculinity is typically associated with strength, with toughness, with non-vulnerability, with aggressiveness, and being stoic, not showing feelings. That is how masculinity is normally done in Africa. And then hegemony. What is hegemony? Hegemony is really a system of dominance, being in control, dominating. And what hegemony does is it tries to seek to concentrate power, political power, social power, political, economic power in one center. That's what hegemony does. And so it finds expression in different forms of domination, occupation, and affirming yourself over and against other people. You are always coming on top. Now, what does it mean to be brought up when at the heart of true masculinity, being brought up as a man or a woman, at the heart of it is the question of co-responsibility. It's the question of the common good. It's the question of common welfare. That's really what is at the heart of being a man and a woman. To contribute to the common welfare of the society. That's what masculinity really is. Or femininity is real about. The problem starts where, so before I move there, so at the heart of masculinity, and then you basically have this liberty, equality, and sovereignty that allows others to flourish. And also is about expanding psychological parameters of imagination. In new realities, how do you imagine solutions? And it's also about upholding rights and freedoms in the community. That's why a tough man was supposed to provide protection. It's all about protecting the rights and freedom of people. And it's also about creating healthy relationships and emphasizing collective well-being and care. That is at the heart of masculinity. And that is the same at the heart of femininity. Now, the problem starts when being a man is linked irretrievably with hegemony. When being a man is linked irretrievably with hegemony, then being a man comes to be associated with domination, superiority, and control over others. But this domination, superiority, and control over others is always around, is linked up with some political and economic interests. Hegemony is not for hegemony's sake. Hegemony is always around some economic and political interests. That's what hegemony is about. Whether you call it tribal hegemony, gender hegemony, racial hegemony, class hegemony, that is at the heart of that. It is that linking of masculinity and hegemony that becomes problematic. Because that linking now means you use certain tools to impose truth according to you, according to your perspective on the others. And you begin to have monopoly of control over thoughts, language, the way people talk with each other, and resources. Basically, you disenfranchise and subjugate other people. That's what hegemony does. So, when now hegemony is linked up irretrievably or coupled with masculinity, the male body becomes a space of contestation where you challenge people's sense of themselves, because the way my masculinity is constructed shapes the way I perceive myself and the way other people also perceive me, and the stories other people tell about myself, and the kind of story I start to tell, the kind of stories others tell about me. I begin to inhabit, to own, and live the stories based on this. And this is very important. So, experiences that then challenge this notion can then lead to isolation, diminished sense of worth, and feeling of incompetence or impotence. As Chris earlier said, and I want to highlight that, the construction of masculinity impacts not just the individual identity, but also shapes the way you begin to relate and see other people. It also shapes the way you begin to see power dynamics. And it also shapes the way you begin to see community structures. Now, the hegemonic push often then is about conquest and control. Control over genders, control over discourse, the kind of things people can say and not say. And different tools are employed for that. And as I said, it is about the concentration of social, political, and economic power in a single center. Whether that center is a common identity. That's why sometimes these tribal things are very serious. Because it must be this tribe to determine, not that tribe.